All right, ladies, today let's talk about doing your face makeup. I did my eyeshadow, which in this lighting looks way more yellow than it actually is. I will take a photo with natural light and add it to the end of the video. Don't have anything on my face right now except for a little bit of Clinique face lotion that I put on before I did my eye makeup. So I have been asked a few times what I put under my eyes. I've been using this product by MAC since 2001. It's their fast response eye cream. Put on a tiny few dots under my eyes before I do my makeup and before I do my eyeshadow because it gets rid of puffiness, dark circles, etc. And it's not greasy, so it doesn't cause any slippage at all. Then after I'm done with my eye makeup, I use this product, which is the Equalizer by Makeup Forever, and really what it does is it blurs my pores. I have very oily skin. If you have dry skin, you may want to consider a moisturizing primer prior to putting on your foundation, but I have super oily skin, so I just stick to these two things and regular lotion. All right, so I'm going to put on the Makeup Forever primer. It's very easy to use. As you can see, I have very pink undertones to my skin, and anytime I put anything on it, my skin gets super red. There we go, little dot, and then I just basically put it where I have visible pores. Again, because my skin is oily, I don't like to get too crazy, especially up here in the T-zone, because then my face will look like a complete grease slick, which is not a good look. So my next step in my face makeup application is foundation. And I am a foundation freak. I have tons of different ones, mostly because my skin color changes based on how much I'm outside. In the summer I play tennis. Well, I play tennis all the time, all year round, but in the summer I get very tan. So I tend to mix. Again, oily skin, so I'm looking for things that are mattifying. This is by Bite Beauty, and it is mattifying, as is this Tom Ford foundation, which is a little more liquidy, and this is a little more, thick. So I'll show you how I mix them together next. So I could get all fancy and use like a mixing, fancy-ass mixing thing, but who the hell needs to do that? So you can see I squirted a little bit on my hand. I'm now gonna mix them together with my finger, and using that same finger, I'm just gonna dab it all over my skin. So my number one best practice tool that I use is this beauty blender. I have been using a beauty blender for a decade. I do not put foundation on without it. I cannot imagine putting foundation on without it. I own like 30 of them. It's a little dirty right now, but hey, no problem. And then I take MAC's Fix Plus, and that's how I wet the beauty blender. So I just like usually do, I don't know, 10 or so sprays on the beauty blender. And some people wet the whole thing underwater, but to be candid, to me, that gets it too wet. The Fix Plus on here gets it just wet enough. As you can see, I have dotted foundation all over my face, and I just take the beauty blender and I start to blend it in. I don't really have any rhyme or reason to this process, except just trying to make sure that, you know, you get the hollows of your cheeks, and you blend your line between your chin and your neck pretty good, so that you don't have a weird, obvious crease. And you might be thinking, wow, Susie, that color for how pink your skin is, it looks kind of whack. And you might be right, but I promise when I'm done, you're gonna be like, oh, you no longer look like you have jaundice, or that potentially you're a zombie. All right, so I have all of my foundation pretty much blended in. Get really close down to my eyebrows. I get up into the hairline. And again, down here, I also do this and get around my nose. So you may be thinking, what about concealer? Well, I'm here to help with that. I love my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. It's definitely the best I've used for my skin type. There's good concealers. I find that concealers in like a pot do not do as good of job as concealers with a wand. So I put it under my eyes because, you know, I'm 42 and I was blessed with under eye circles since birth. Put a little here. If I have any acne, which a little bit over here, sometimes here. I just dab. So next step, I get my same beauty blender back out and I just go to town, blending all the way in, straight line, up my nose, chin, and under my eyes. If I was a pro at beauty makeup videos, I would have my little tripod sitting out so that it could be held, but I'm winging it, kids. I enjoy winging it. It's fun. Okay, so concealer. And you can see that it really has brightened up my under eye. It makes this line of my eyeshadow really nice and smooth and crisp. Gives a little light here, Gets rid of my little adult acne. Looking pretty good. Next thing, I use this Laura Mercier. It's a setting powder, and I enjoy like loose powder versus, for under your eyes, I use loose powder always versus face powder. So I use both, but this is what I do. I take a small brush and I just kind of take a little bit of this, and then I go under my eyes and set all that concealer. Set it here, and I set it up here. Okay, so that usually gets my under eyes set pretty strong. All right, and then I use one of my old standbys, which is MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. I have been using this product as powder for ever. I use a really big fluffy brush. I just do the rest of my face with the Mineralized Skin Finish, just to make sure everything is smooth and set. See, it's starting to look normal. My eyeshadow doesn't look as crazy anymore, so go team. All right, so I do like bronzer because right now I look like a corpse. And if I'm being honest, I do see a lot of women walking around, some of you will remain nameless, who do not use enough other face products and you end up looking like a corpse. Here's how we avoid looking like dead woman walking. This is a bronzer by Sephora. It is just their standard bronzer. You can buy it at any Sephora. I kind of like cool tone bronzers because, again, I have very pink undertones and I don't need to look any more pink than I already do. So I just take this pretty cool brush, which is made for bronzer. It is, I believe, by, yes, Tarte Cosmetics. Dip it in the bronzer, and then I just draw a tiny little line right there, following your natural cheekbone. I do a little up here. There, a little under my chin. Now I'm not gonna leave it like this. Yes, I see. It looks like I ran into a mud ball. I will blend it out. Remember how I like blending? I like blending my face too. So next is blush, and my favorite blush is Modern Mandarin, also by MAC. When I first got into makeup, MAC was really the main brand. So you'll see I still use a lot of their products. I don't think their eyeshadows are anywhere near as good as other eyeshadows on the market, but I do love a lot of their face products. And I use this brush from Makeup Geek to put on blush. It's kind of a flat brush. It's kind of interesting. It's like, so I stipple it more than anything else. I do own, as I'm guessing you're imagining, a ton of blush, but for some reason I always come back to this color. Then my most favorite part of face makeup is the highlighter. Highlighter to me is like putting frosting on a cake. I have highlighter in every color you can think of. This one is also by MAC and it is called Show Gold. It's kind of a peachy pink gold. And I have a brush that I use. I think this brush is by NARS, and it's just kind of a little, you could use a brush like this for blush too. So to me, you can never have enough highlighter. So I just coat. Look at that. Look at that. You can see me from outer space. Here. A lot of people in makeup videos like to put highlighter on their nose. Again, because I have oily skin, I think that makes me look ridiculous. But I always put a little on your Cupid bow. Okay. All right, so how do we end up blending this all out? So I took more of that Laura Mercier powder that I put under my eyes, and I put it on this brush, which I got from Ulta, which I love. It's big and fluffy. And I just blend that line. Look at me. Blending. Blend, blend, blend. See, mine's already better. Still has a nice little amount of color, but I no longer look like a crazy person. See, blending, blending, blending. And I blend up here, I blend up here. Sometimes I may go back with a little more powder just to make sure that everything is still set, but see, I don't look like a freak after all. So just to recap a few things. One, make sure you have good makeup brushes. Like, it's really important. You don't have to spend $40 a brush, but go to Ulta or Sephora and get a basic set of face and eyeshadow brushes. MAC's main eyeshadow brush, which I wish that I thought about telling you what it is prior to starting to talk. Okay, here we go. MAC 217 is this, which is my favorite eyeshadow brush by far. Get yourself like 2 or 3 of those. Washing brushes often is super important. Get a beauty blender. You gotta wash that every few days as well. And in my makeup room, let me show you guys. Oh, I don't think I can turn the camera around while I'm talking, but I have a magnifying mirror. I have a huge light up mirror, and I have good lighting so I can see myself and see what I'm doing. Seeing what you're doing is, it's pretty important. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching.